Another day, another breath. Been chasing dreams, but I never slept. I got a new attitude and a lease on life is a peace of mind. Seeking to find I can sleep when I die. Want a piece of the pie, got the keys to the ride and shit. I'm straight. I'm on my way. Get up my way. I'm running late. What can I say? I heard you died twice. Once when they bury you in the grave, and the second time is the last time that somebody mentions your name. So when I leave here on this earth, did I take more than I gave? Did I look out for the people, or did I do it all for fame? Legend is Exodus, searching for euphoria, trudging through the mud to find the present, no ignoring us. Got 20,000 deep up in the street like we some warriors. My mama told me never bow your head.
I feel glorious, glorious. Got a chance to start again.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Off the Bench podcast. My name is Jim Cross, and as always, I'm joined by my best friend here, Daniel Ball. Daniel, that video still hasn't gotten old because I get chills because I was there for every single one of those moments. We know them, and I think part of it is knowing that we're fixing to do it again. Gymnastics, baseball, like championships. We got our tickets. We got our hotel. It's fixing to happen, and tonight we might be talking to one of them who's fixing to become one.
Maybe it's dicey out there. The gymnastic world is crazy right now, but a good kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, with that being said, they referenced Cal as a sleeping giant in Oklahoma City, as you remember. I don't think they're a sleeping giant. I think they're wide awake. I think everybody's well aware of them. But that being said, Jayden Silvers, how are we doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We are fantastic. Your team, I said it to you right before we started. I like when it's not just talent, but even better people getting to talk to y'all, get to know you. And so we're excited to get your story. But before we do, we always like to break the ice. The first thing I like to ask, I always ask the female guests because, I don't know, guys don't really get excited about this topic. But if you could pick any Disney character to be, and I don't mean any of them, I'm not just saying princesses, who would you want to be?
Oof. That's a tough one. To be completely honest, I'm not like super educated with the Disney stuff. But
all right. I'll flip this then. Okay. I know that you are studious and I know that you like to read, reading up on you. So if you could pick a character from your favorite book, who would it be?
Well, okay, it's really unpopular, but one of my favorite books that I've read is The Book Thief. It's very emotional, and for some reason I like when things make me emotional because it means I'm like attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess probably the main character from that book, and I think you pronounce it Lisa, or it's something like that, but it's the main character, and probably just because she's very like brave and courageous, and she like tries to follow the rules like outwardly, but inwardly she kind of just like she listens to her heart, and I guess that's just inspiring to me.
Yeah, no, and I can appreciate that, and it's something different than our typical answer. So I like that you do us a curveball with that. I mean, apparently Daniel was thrown so much that he left us. I don't know what happened, but the show must go on. Speaking of show, the Super Bowl is this weekend. We like to talk about the halftime show in the sense of if you could pick any artist. Let's say you were going and you got to pick who was going to be the halftime show. If you could pick any musician to be out there, who would you pick?
Again, probably unpopular. Well, actually, this one is probably less unpopular. I love Bruno Mars. And so I always have to go Bruno Mars. He's awesome. I've been to a Bruno Mars concert, and he's a great performer. So definitely.
I don't think it's unpopular at all. He did fantastic when he did do it. My wife absolutely loved it. I've bought her concert tickets for her and her friend before, but I think he's an excellent entertainer. So I think that's a fantastic choice. For whatever reason, when they rate the top Super Bowl performances of all time, he's not up there, but I think they got it wrong because I think he killed it.
Yeah, I agree. He's awesome. If not Bruno Mars, I have to go with like country music, either Luke Combs or Jordan Davis, that's the unpopular piece. But I love country music.
I
So
want to see a picture of you and Bruno Mars together because you may be taller than him.
probably.
I mean, maybe we'll see. Because
Well, she's not one of the
Bruno
shorter
might be coming.
gymnasts, and he's definitely one of the shorter men.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely for sure. All right, Jayden, we got to get into your story. Talking about Cali,
Mhm.
all of that is great. Is the West Coast the best coast? Because you're from Culver City. So tell me about Culver City. Where exactly in California is Culver City?
It's like super close to Santa Monica, in LA County. It's like a smaller city, right, like on the border of Los Angeles City. I personally do have to say West Coast is the best coast, and Southern California is probably better than Northern California, because just the weather in SoCal is so good. And I realize when I go to other places that I take it for granted. So I don't know for that reason, if I would have an easy move to like basically anywhere else.
Well, the good news is Cal has now moved into a conference where you get to experience the entire country.
Yes.
So like you will find out very quickly whether the West Coast is indeed the best coast, because there's going to be a lot of trips to the East Coast for sure.
I solidify what she said. Daniel, I was stationed in San Diego for 2 years, and I told you it didn't get better than out there. The problem was I said I was always going to go back, but it was a lot easier when the military paid for my living, because I found out real quick how much it would cost if I went back.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
Jayden,
Price and traffic are not very awesome parts of California.
yeah, it's it gets crazy out there. Let me ask you this. There's a lot of fires and a lot of stuff going on in California right now. Has that been any effect to your, hometown or your parents or anybody that you know?
Yeah, thankfully, my family was okay. Obviously, it was super, like, the air quality and stuff was bad, and very gray. Like the sky was super gray and stuff. But thankfully, my family's homes and like all of my family is safe. But there are some people that I know, like some old teammates, that were affected by it. So it's definitely sad and hits close to home.
Definitely. That's it's just a tragic thing. We have a guest coming on in a couple of days that, right in the thick of it, lost everything. So, it's hard on our mind, and I just wanted to make sure you guys are okay when we talk about, California. That's the first thing that I think about because it's just so prominent right now. But the good news is, the air quality will get better. Everybody's homes are intact, so that's a positive. But the one thing I did want to note, and Jim, I don't know if you did this on purpose, but maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Did y'all know that?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
what a day to have you on, Jayden. So congratulations on your day. Congratulations on what you do
Thank
for
you.
women and girls in the sport, because I know my daughter is in gymnastics, and when she sees people and girls like her on a big stage doing gymnastics, it just makes her want to continue to do it. And I appreciate that. So thank you for that. Thank you for what you do. And,
Here's what I decided to do.
Killing it.
Thank you.
I was doing a post, and we've had so many female athletes. I didn't want to really have to pick and choose for my graphic. Well, I just went with 9 that I had pictures of my kids with, which was a lot less. And so that way I didn't feel like I had to, feel bad for not picking certain women. So I felt pretty good about it.
I mean, when you're acknowledging the day and you're acknowledging everybody, the picture doesn't matter. It's just.
But it's like, let's say it's Cal, right? Like, I'd feel bad if I had, Maya, but not Ella and Jordan. Like, I don't know. I think about these things too deep.
I know it's tough. You're in a tough spot, but the thing is you're putting it out there and you're growing the game. That's what we're doing. We're just growing the game.
But we have an appreciation all together just because we're both girl dads. Unfortunately, we talk about appreciating things in the moment. My daughter, sometimes playing travel soccer, whether it was the money or the travel, I get annoyed a lot. But now that she's in college and not playing anymore, I definitely miss it.
Yeah. So, Jayden, your family. All right. Let's break this down. Your brother Russell, track star, USC. Your brother Elliot, football star at Washington. Like, can you let us normal folk, us average folk, have a little bit of that like gene pool talent? Like, what does mom and dad do? Like, if they're producing all these Division 1 athletes, like, what do they do? What do they eat? What do they drink? Because I need to know this.
Well, I actually have a funny story about that because that stat is a little bit incorrect.
Uh-oh. Oh, buddy.
Yeah, I did share that with the people who are in charge of that. But Russell is actually my uncle. And then Elliot is also not my brother. I do have a brother, Ryan, who is in 8th grade. And he does gymnastics also and baseball. He's pretty much done every sport there is. But those are his 2 competitive ones. And then my sister.
This is interesting, Jayden. You're the 513th guest, and we've never had this happen before. We've never had an SID department set us up for failure like this.
I know. I'm sorry. I did let them know, though.
Sometimes you get nothing on the SID page, which okay, cool. I nobody has anything.
We don't get it wrong like this.
Yeah, we don't get it, but this time, like, they don't even have the right people doing the right things. Like, I'm wondering if you even know an Elliot or.
Yes.
I hope they at least got her like high school correct. We're not like walking into like a trap after a trap.
I'm telling you, man, this could be bad.
The stat about my uncle Russell is definitely true. So
okay,
definitely still runs in the family. And my parents did produce another D1 athlete. My sister is a gymnast at Arizona. So yeah, we both do gymnastics.
Well, that's actually going to give Daniel good content because now he's going to want to know about the competition among sisters.
Okay, let's start this. How does one end up at Cal, but the other ends up at Arizona? Like, did you guys just really not get along and not like each other? And you're like, you've got to go. You've got to get out of my face and go to a different state. You can't even go to Northern California or, Central California. You got to get out of this state altogether. I kid, but like, how does that end up happening? Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I got this closeness with my sister. I just, we love each other so much. We want to be there and support each other, and we ended up at the same place. It's just this fairy tale. You don't watch a lot of Disney, but this is the premise of a nice Disney movie.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely well, I think one thing that kind of separated us a little bit was, so we're like just a grade apart normally, but since I came to Cal early, our like recruiting process was kind of spread out. And we had like similar recruiting processes, but also different. And it was kind of just, she was looking at all of her options, including Cal, but it was kind of just finding the best fit for her and like focusing on different things, like where she would be able to compete more and contribute to the team. And and also just like the coaches she had the most communication with. But we are really close. Like, we obviously grew up going to school and gym together. Literally, like, we shared a room at home. Like, we literally lived the same life.
To me, I wouldn't want to necessarily, like, you always see where the siblings do, but I would want to kind of build my own, name and brand and not be known as someone's little sister. So, exactly. I mean, I could see it.
Yeah, it was definitely hard, like, being separated because, like I said, we had lived the same life for so long. But I think it was good because both of us kind of got to create our own journeys and not like live in either me live in her spotlight once she came or her living in mine. And we got to experience different things. So now, like, when I call her and stuff, like, we both have our different experiences and updates, which is kind of cool. And we get to graduate having experience. Like, I at least got out of SoCal, so I got to live in NorCal, which was new, and she gets to live in a whole different state. So just different experiences, but definitely hard leaving her at first.
Oh, I bet, especially, you're for so long to be the level that you're at. You're competing together in the same gym, and it's the same
Yeah,
schedule
exactly.
and doing the same things, and like,
Mhm.
you're the ups, the downs, and all the celebrations and high points and low points. You're all there for all those, and so it's got to be tough when that person isn't there,
Mhm.
and trying to figure out a new
Growing up,
dynamic.
you got a constant motivation. You got somebody pushing you in a good way the whole time.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So outside of your sister and
Mhm.
parents, like when you look at your gymnastics career, who was the biggest influence on you growing up?
Mm. Um, that's a tough one because I feel like there were so many people, especially like I was at 3 different club gyms, and at each one, the influence from the, like, older girls, I guess, was very different, obviously because I was getting older as well. Um, I think one constant was just I grew up going to the UCLA gymnastics meets, so it was always like I was always inspired by them because I it was like one day I want to be them. Like I want to be up there competing, and this crowd was so like fun. Me being in the crowd, I was like, wow, I wish I could be down there and have this crowd like watching me and cheering for me. So that was obviously always a constant for me. And then specifically like at at my first gym, I actually had like two teammates from there that ended up going to Cal. And I wasn't teammates with them at Cal because I was a lot younger, but um, it was Chelsea and Alma who both graduated years ago. And then at my second gym, Natalie Sadigi, she graduated, I think, 2 years ago now. And she was definitely a big influence because when I went to that gym, she was one that I looked up to, and she was always like constantly working hard. Um, and like always like the person that was like, okay, like that's a great example of a leader. That's what I want to be like. And then obviously just seeing her go to Cal was very inspiring. And then I got to be her teammate here for my first year. So she was just someone I looked up to a lot. And she was just like really supportive and somebody that I could go to for help. So yeah, I think all of those people who I guess called young or older girls when I was younger were all really inspiring for me.
So Daniel,
Yeah,
check
it's
this out. All right, I went to the Arizona's SID department. First, I wanted to see if they competed against each other this season. I see that they don't, but they did last season. But Daniel, you go to theirs anyway. Jillian Silvers, both parents, Blake and Lisa Silvers, attended University of Southern Cal. Has one younger brother, Ryan, and one sister, Jayden. Jayden is a gymnast at the University of Cal Berkeley. They got it right. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's
I
all.
mean,
Yes.
you whoever is in charge at Arizona in their SID
Getting a
department,
raise.
they definitely. I'm not one to talk bad about people, so all I'm gonna say is Cal SID. You know what you got to do.
Yeah, I don't know what went wrong there.
But I do got to know it's skipping ahead to what we're gonna because it wasn't on the docket, right, Daniel? I do want
Yeah.
to know because y'all did go against each other last year. Like, what is that like seeing your sister across on the other side for the first time?
Yeah, well, actually, she's a freshman this year, so it was we
Oh,
didn't actually compete against each other last year, but she was there at the meet in the stands.
so
Um,
they took y'all off the schedule together. It wasn't because y'all left conferences; it's because they wanted to make sure y'all didn't have
Yeah.
to hurt feelings.
yeah,
I get it. I get it.
exactly. Yes. But it was definitely funny because she came to the meet with like a Cal something on, but then she had Arizona under, and she just took off the Cal, and she was like cheering for Arizona, and she's like, "I hope you know I'm cheering for you, but I'm cheering for Arizona." So it's definitely like competitive already, but hopefully I'll see her more this season. I got to see her like in passing at a couple of our meets. And then maybe next season we'll get to compete against each other. And
Nice.
if we get to, that'll be exciting, especially with it being my senior year. Like I'll get to finish it with her. So
Daniel, the
This,
parents are the one that get put through the ringer, though.
I know this. I can you imagine like Thanksgiving dinner before the season starts? It's just gonna be Jayden and her sister just. I mean, and then sporadic eating in between in between those. No, I kid, but I mean that's good. Like, I think if I had a brother, Jim, that I was like competing with on the same level, I would want my brother to go to a different school. I would want that. Like, I would just. I would think I would thrive in that situation. But Jayden, I gotta ask, you attended Da Vinci Science High School. And I don't know anything about this high school, but it sounds like it is like the top tier of like high schools that you could ever attend. Like when you're like,
Yeah.
we're the science high school. Well,
I mean, Da Vinci to start with, right, within itself, but then it had
Yeah.
science in the name. It's like, I mean, how elite of a school are we talking about here?
It's funny because it's like a school most people like don't know about. It's a small
mean,
like
it's-
public charter school. And the reason it's called Da Vinci Science is because it's basically one school called Da Vinci, and then they have like 3 separate schools under that umbrella. So there's like Da Vinci Science, Communications, and Design, and they're all different like focuses depending on like what you're interested in for your career. It's definitely a really good school. It's really small though. There's only like 150 people in my graduating class, so it's kind of one of those schools where like you know everyone, but it's not
you
as smart
know
person as it
everything.
sounds.
And you know everything. Like
Yes.
smaller the school, news travels fast. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
But
But
for
I'll tell you
you,
this, Daniel. Everybody always talks about the whole knowing everything about everybody. But what I've learned, the smaller schools, when you have less students in the classroom, stats don't lie. You get more educated because the focus is just easier for teachers to be able to communicate with the students. I mean, you were a teacher, Daniel. Teaching a classroom full of 10 versus a classroom full of 30 will change the game.
oh, definitely. I mean, when I was doing PE, I'd have 75 kids in there, and it's like we're going outside. So let's go.
I'm not
I
doing
mean,
this.
only because I wanted more room for less bad things to happen.
Daniel, how did
spread them out.
You said teaching PE, but I got to ask this. I mean, this episode's about Jay, but like, how did you end up teaching like English at one point? Because you were a PE teacher. How did that even happen?
So, long story short, I wanted to make myself more marketable because I was like, when I first started in Broward County, the way they did it was on like a experience system. So, like, if there was ever like cuts that needed to be made, if enrollment was
You don't
down
want
or
them just get
whatever.
rid of the gym teacher. I teach English too.
No, well, the thing is you could be a terrible teacher, but you could have the most experience, and they would have to keep you because that was how they did it. So me being the new guy, like I was like, I got bills to pay. I need a job. So like, here's what I can do. Like I can teach this and this and this. So, and eventually I just moved into those positions just because I got tired of like having to like worry about my job security every year. So
I'm sure Jay can appreciate it because versatility, right? You got beam, bars, floor, everything. You may start with one as a specialist, but you got to work your way into everything.
Exactly.
I was the all-around teaching champion. That was I was getting 9.925s. I could never get like a 10.
Really?
I was pretty good, but not like a 10.
No, 9925 is very good.
Well, with these judges this year, Daniel, you sure ain't getting a 10.
We ain't getting a 10 this year.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Now, you got some brains on you. It wasn't just the Da Vinci Science School where you're learning everything. You did come in with some smarts on you. You ranked second in your class. Like,
yes.
How does that make you feel? Like, was it okay? Can you handle being second because like the person who was first is just they earned it and they're just like just that much smarter? I don't know, smarter is the right word, but like
more smart.
I would be aggravated and like it would eat at me, I think, no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't feel like I deserved to be first. So do you have a little animosity to the person who ranked first in your class?
Luckily for them, I actually don't know.
It wasn't your sister, right?
No, thankfully not. There would have been a lot more animosity if that was the case. But I actually don't know who it is because I know I was ranked first for like a little bit there. And then like after I graduated, I don't really know like who was when. Also who was where. They also didn't do valedictorian the traditional way at that school. They did like the top 10 people would apply. So I actually couldn't tell you who was ranked
So here's
first.
the thing. Here's what I'm getting, because you said you were in first. You didn't remember anybody passing you, Daniel. We've seen that this page has had some stats and facts wrong. I think she was first. I think they messed this up too. Let's just call it what it is.
We can
Or
definitely say that, yeah.
or what if the SID was the number one person to have?
Oh, that actually probably is true.
I
I don't
doubt
know.
that.
I'm not,
I mean,
the number one person in the class ain't messing up who her uncle and brothers are. Okay, I'm just saying.
he was whoever number one is. If you're out there, we want to know. Come forward now.
Please let me know.
Look, everything worked out right, because you're fixing to ask her the golden question, and she ended up at the right place. So it doesn't matter how it all panned out.
Exactly.
So that's really the question. All right, you got the brains, you got the talent. It's clear that you probably had options on where you could go. So why is it that you go to Cal?
To be honest, like I hadn't talked to Cal as much as some other places for a while. And there was a point where I was kind of deciding between UCLA and Cal. And I just, as soon as I went on my visit to Cal, I like knew that's where I wanted to be. And it was kind of that thing that I had been looking for, where you go in and immediately feel like this is where you belong. And the team was just super special. And like, I felt very, like, I guess, secure with them. Like, they were very nice and talkative, and I could tell that they were like supportive and just very tight knit. I also love like that the team isn't super big, so everyone is close with everyone, and there's no like, oh, you're a freshman and I'm a senior, so we're not friends, or like everyone in their class hangs out with everyone. I loved that it was just very close between everyone on the team. And then also the coaches were awesome. When I went there, they were obviously just like nice, showing me around and talking to me. And I liked how, I guess, mature the team was. And there was just like a really good level of like respect and responsibility from everyone, which I could tell just in the couple days that I was there. And then the campus is, I love it. It's beautiful. I like Berkeley as a city, as a college town. I think it's cool because it's like something different than I'm used to. And it's like you can be in campus where it's kind of quieter and just like pretty, and you have the trees and the creeks and all of that stuff. And then you can go just, a few steps out to the city, and it's just like so much going on, lots of people, lots of places to eat and hang out. So I think just everything I like could tell right when I stepped foot on campus, basically, like I loved it there. And I think also another big deciding factor was either LA, which is where I spent 18 years of my life, or try something new. And I wanted to kind of have my own college experience and live somewhere a little bit different than I was used to, but still be close enough to home to where my family is an hour flight or a 6-hour drive away. So it's still close enough. So
Yeah, I love that.
That's crazy, man. You hear that? I think she's got the penthouse suite in the bell tower.
Yeah, honestly though, I love every answer she said, and I like that last one, just talking about choosing something different. But I think it worked out for Daniel. We obviously follow gymnastics very close. Shay Campbell is a guest of the show, and we know there's a lot of prestige with UCLA. But I think, first of all, we talk about the girls that are at Cal. We talk about that whole role as a sleeping giant. But honestly, this year, I feel like Cal, they're just talking about Jordan Childs, rightfully so. She's a gymnast. And to me, I feel like there's not enough. The team is doing fantastic, and I don't feel like they're talking about enough. So whereas Cal, it feels like they're talking about the team as a whole. It's not just like, Maya Lauzon. And so I don't know. I feel like you're in the right spot, especially for what I've picked up on you, as a personality and your teammates. So I think it's a good thing that you ended up there, just because there's a weird kind of spotlight kind of going on there that I wouldn't personally, want to be a part of. But when you get there, freshman year, there's a lot of expectations with what they had done the previous year. You obviously get to compete in some exhibitions. But what I want to know is what you were able to learn the most, because no matter what you did before competing college, when you get to that scene, when you get in those big quad meets and everything, it's a whole different story. So what did you learn the most?
Well, the first thing that like I learned is just how honestly how much more fun gymnastics is as like a team sport. Um, and just I realized really quickly that no matter what you're doing on the team, whether you're competing or not, like everyone is so important and everyone has a really important role. And I think that was one of the lessons I learned really early on because if you're not competing bars, for example, like you're in charge of setting the bars, and that's not like it's something that maybe people don't notice because you're like as an audience you're watching the people doing gymnastics, but we're constantly moving in the pit crew on bars. Like you have to know everyone's setting, you have to know the order, you have to know when you're setting the bars and when you're not, you have to listen to what people need with mats and boards, and like there's so much going on over there that your role is really important. And besides like setting things like setting the bars and setting the vault and all of that stuff, you also are like responsible for bringing up the energy in the team and um, just like making sure everyone is united throughout the meet, and you have to be cheering and you have to be like positive and like help uplift everyone and kind of just you know you're really important even if you're not doing gymnastics.
Yeah.
So that was something that I learned, and then also just patience, honestly. Like when I went to Cal, I wasn't expecting vault to be the thing that I had more experience with, just based on how it was for me in club gymnastics. And then I feel like I just had patience with the coaches, and the coaches had patience with me. And like we both had an open mind. And then also just seeing the team and like how like gymnastics works as a team. You're trying to make the best lineup on every event. So you have to like find opportunities where you can contribute, and that might not always be the place that you expect to contribute the most in when you're going into college. So I guess I just learned how to be more like open-minded in my gymnastics too, and it paid off. So
Yeah, absolutely. And to touch on the first thing you brought up, it is different because you're with a team, right? Even if you're a part of a gym and a team, you're going there, you're competing as an individual. Whereas everything that you were talking about with the second part, whether you're setting stuff up, whether you're cheering them on, you want them to do well. Everything is together, and you need the team to, as we talk about all the time, Daniel, there's not much margin for error, especially in a lot of these big meets. And everything you were talking about, I've seen more in person because you don't get to see it as much as TV. But like, you were talking about the bars. It's even something as simple as whatever the spray is that they put right before they go, right? You've got to set up, a little tramp or whatever to jump up on. All those little things, like you said, because if they're not right, things aren't going to go well. So I definitely like that you said that there's an appreciation. And so, Daniel, I mean, all these are even the person, I told you when Danielle Severs, when I went to watch Oklahoma, she wasn't competing, and it was like, cause she was hurt. And it's like, she took that opportunity. You would have thought she was a coach. Like she's talking to everybody. She's on the move. And I was like, she knows her role. So it's really cool stuff. Talking about your coaches and the coaching staff, and you were talking about that was part of the reason why you chose it. When a team gets better every year, that you have to look at the coaching staff. You can say experience of the gymnast, but when there's consistency like there is, Cal, you have to start to look at the coaching staff. So what is it you feel like that makes them so special? Because Cal is here for third, fourth year in a row where they're a team that people are like, this team can win a national championship. So what is it about this coaching staff you think that makes them unique?
Well, one thing like I touched on before is just like they're very mature as coaches. Like they have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and just like unique perspectives on things. And like they're able to kind of, at least like in my experience too, just to give like examples, is like if one thing doesn't work, they have 10 other things for this same skill or the same issue that I'm having, 10 other ways that we can try and fix it. So they kind of always have something ready. To just find new ways to like solve problems or make things happen. So that's one really unique thing about them. And then also just the way they carry the team, which is another thing that I said is just like everyone has this like respect that just comes with the way that they handle themselves and handle the team. So it just feels like the team and the coaches together are very united always. So like we're working together towards this goal that everyone has. And then also they're just like things like that they say, as in like one day better or one day better together, and like these things that they share with us that we really do implement into our daily training is so important. And they're constantly reminding us of those things. And we have our team core values and just all of these things that have kind of built the foundation for our team that they've been so essential in like establishing. Just I think it's been so successful.
Yeah, Daniel, I don't know if you saw it in their pictures that they put out. I think yesterday with Cal, but their Leos even said one day better. I like the, if you don't remember the message, it's right here. You can't forget it, right? But you talked about vault not being what you expected. But you competed 14 times in it last year in a team that finished runner-up that was right there to win a national championship. So obviously a key part. I love the term specialist that they give. You're obviously they know that you can bring consistency. You had a couple 9.25s last year. So what we talked about, your growth last year, the things you learned, and that was part of it. But being that you became that person who was solid, what was that like, just knowing that your team could count on you and vault and know that you were going to bring that consistency every single week?
Honestly, it was just such a special feeling. Coming into Cal, like you never know what to expect. You don't know what college gymnastics is like. Like you hear it from other people, but you don't actually know until you've experienced it yourself. And I came in here freshman year and I kind of found my role in like working really hard at the gym and trying to be a leader and making the team better, but also like at meets, like I knew my role that season was, being the best teammate I could be and trying to improve on vault. And then over the summer, I really just like every single day, my focus was getting better at vault and upgrading it obviously to the 1.5. And then the first part of the season kind of struggled a little bit. It was a new vault. I was kind of getting used to doing it on the competition landing, which was a little bit rough. And then once I kind of figured out something that worked for me and I was able to get consistent, it was really nice for me to be able to look back and see all the progress I've made, and also just being that person that like when I went up there, I got to the point where I felt confident, and it wasn't, am I going to make this? It was, I know I'm going to make this, and how good can I make it? Because I want to do well for the team, obviously. And then also just like the support from everyone. Like I knew everyone around me believed in me, and that just made me that much better. So it was kind of just feeding off of like the confidence that I had gained from doing so many vaults every single day. And then also the confidence that I knew the coaches had gotten to have in me and the team. And meet after meet, you keep building on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really special. And then to be able to compete at the national championship was, you can't really describe it with words.
I was there, and that's the first time I've been, to gymnastics in a stage that big, and it was cool, and I could feel the pressure from all the teams, right? Like especially in that moment in the semifinals when Alabama and Oklahoma, had a couple girls go, and it's like you could feel it in the room, and it's like golly, and that's what we're talking about, the margin for error. But with you, like you said, it may have started a certain way, but you were a lock for a 9.9 or better every week. And when you're in those kind of competitions, that's what you need. But talking about that kind of atmosphere, I was supposed to be there in Oklahoma City, got snowed in. Me and Daniel watched it every step of the way. Great measuring to see where every team is at. Great competition. After you come off that meet, how does the team feel? Like, obviously you want to win, but I thought the team looked excellent. Like, did y'all feel the same way coming out of it?
Yeah, I think we're very big on our team about don't worry about what the scores are or, who wins. It's all about how you feel after your routine, after the competition. Like if you feel like that was a 10-0 performance, then that was a 10-0 performance. And, if we felt like that was our best competition and our best meet of the season so far, like at that point, which obviously was really early on, but like if we felt like we had done our job, then that's all that matters. So yes, obviously you want to win, but I think we all left that feeling like proud of ourselves and knowing we had like done our job, and we had done well. And you don't want to peak too early in the season. So we know like we still have a lot more to give, and it's only up from here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think it's the main thing I've learned. It's the war of attrition, right? And you want to stay healthy. You want to get everybody reps, try out the different lineups, and work your way to that final to where you're, like you said, you're peaking at the right time. But I thought overall every team looked good. And then y'all, taking care of business since, and you got into competition with Clemson. You were out before that. Was this just a lineup thing? Were you coming off an injury? What was that about?
Yeah. So I had like a couple injuries in the off season. I actually hurt my toe, so that was
Hey,
it's
we
one of
were
those
football
things.
players. We know a toe can really mess things up.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't even think about it. Like you don't realize how bad it is until you actually do it, and it's like you can't even walk normally. So that was a little bit of a setback, and then I had a wrist injury, and I was unfortunately casted for a few weeks, so I literally couldn't do anything, which was tough. But it's just kind of like getting back into it with having such a short off season, just getting back to consistency and confidence to be able to be in lineup. But yeah, we're getting back there. So
Yeah, and so I knew you'd be, happy getting back in the mix. You know, what is the one thing you would say now that you're getting back to health? What's the one thing you feel like maybe you need to improve overall as a gymnast to take yourself to the next level?
I mean, I think there's a few things. Like technique wise, I think that I just am trying to focus a lot on like the little things, like the little details, especially this season with how tight judging is. You're not going to get away with as many things as you maybe did last season or the season before. So just me and us as a team are really honing down on those like little details and trying to eliminate those like half tenths and 1/10 deductions that are, just popping up. So that's one thing. I'm just really taking it back to the basics, and on vault specifically, since that's my main event, I'm trying to focus less on how good can I make this 1.5 vault and more on how good can I make the process so that the 1.5 feels easy. Um, and then in line with that, I'm trying to really find the right like keywords and like cues to give myself so that every time I go, it's like my gymnastics, my vault looks the same every single time instead of kind of like, it might be really good this time and then not so good this time and then really good and then not so good. So just focusing on like anchors for myself so that I can be as clean and consistent as possible.
Absolutely. Last one I got for you. I'm putting you through the ringer, but I was thinking about with you being a specialist. We had Elle Mueller or Miller. I will still say Mueller because it's spelled that way. They do on TV as well, so I don't feel as bad. But she was only doing vault just like you, and I asked her if she gets to be in a lineup for anything, what she want to do, and she said floor. Well, sure enough, week 4 she gets the opportunity. And I was so happy for her just because she said that on here, right? And I know that's what she wanted. So I ask you, like, if you can break into the lineup for anything else, what do you want to be, or do you think it'll be?
Well, not to be repetitive, but floor was my favorite event all throughout club. I love like just the performance aspect of it and like being able to dance and like add some like personality, which is cool. And also tumbling is fun. But to be honest, since coming to college, I've also like gotten to like beam a lot. Especially like I feel like I've made a lot of progress with consistency and then overall just like confidence. I feel confident when I'm on the beam and I don't feel like scared of skills or anything, which is something that I struggled with. So I think that would be cool to do. Um, More
Do you think
so.
potentially further in, down the line, you'll
Mhm.
have a chance to possibly be doing all these? I mean, possibly all around even?
Um, I say never. And obviously my goal in the gym every day is to work as hard as I can and not get one day better. And the goal is to be able to do all three of those because I want to contribute as much as possible. But I think, yeah, beam would be one that I would feel really like proud of myself with how much progress I've made, because that was one that I struggled a lot with confidence-wise in clutch.
Daniel, prepare yourself. We're gonna see her on beam.
Yes.
So just feel it now.
Just wait.
9925 is the new 10. Remember that.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I always say this. The reason why I haven't critiqued the judges too much is because at least they've been consistent. Like,
Yes.
it's not like they're just like doing it to one team. They're doing it to all of them. And basically, if you get a 9975, you know that one judge said 10 and somebody said 9.5 for whatever reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody, all the two that say 10, look at the one that goes 9925 and like, what are you doing?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jayden, it's that time in the interview where we get to play a little game called This or That. You ready to play?
I'm so ready.
All right, we're going to end this show on a positive note. We're going to have a little fun here. It's very simple. We have a lot of baseball players, so the games that I come up with and we play have to be very simple because you know
I
those
love
baseball
baseball.
guys. You know, as do we, but they're not the brightest or sharpest people that we have, you know. So these games, we can't confuse them, but it's very simple. I'm going to give you two options. All you got to do is choose one option or the other.
Okay.
Can't say both, can't say neither. Just got to go with your gut and pick one that speaks to you.
Okay.
All right, it's very simple. All right, Jim, this or that. Who is it brought to you by?
Chinook Cedary, 8 flavors, mild to wild, the best in the game. Less salt, no sample per tongue. They're so good that I sent a text message to one of their guys today with you in it. And I said, look, my guy had no seeds yesterday, told the story on the show. We need to get him some. He immediately responds to you, says, give me an address. I get a box out today. Daniel, expect it there within a week.
And you know what the best part of this message is?
You told him how bad dill pickle was?
I know that I don't have to worry about dill pickle. So, Jayden, Chinook seeds are the best seeds in the game. Don't get me wrong. But they have one flavor. I think every brand has the one thing that people just don't really like. And dill pickle flavored sunflower seeds are that one. So Jim thought it would be funny the last time he sent me a box to fill it full of dill pickle seeds. And
what I'm here for.
The birds and the squirrels and the ducks and the gators and everything that lives around my house got fed all the dill pickle seeds.
But what if they loved them and then you found out you would have them all coming to you on a regular basis?
I mean, the pictures I sent to you of that gator, that was during the time I was throwing them seeds out there. So maybe, but yeah.
Hey, speaking of, we never talked about, let's talk about with Jayden. Our guest last night grew up in Las Vegas, and he says to Daniel, we get scorpions in our house, but we just pick them up and throw them out. And Daniel says, you do what? And that's what led to the gator conversation. But the fact that you normalize the idea of a scorpion being around, let me tell you where I'm never going to live, okay? The desert's out for me.
Yeah.
Look, I've decided that scorpions are desert lizards because I find a lot of lizards in my house, and I'll just pick them up and throw them outside. So,
but those lizards aren't going to hurt you, man.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, where are you picking up a scorpion? Because it's not like it's not like you got to just worry about the little pinchers. You got to worry about the tail too. And
we don't have lizards or scorpions here, but we have spiders. And let me tell you what I'm not going to do: pick it up by one of the legs and throw it out.
Not a chance.
Yeah, me neither.
Not up in here. All right, Jayden, let's get to this. First questions, just a little easy one to get us going.
Okay.
Cats or dogs?
Oh, that one's so easy. Dogs.
All day.
I'm actually
the only cat person that's ever been on this show. Me and Emma Grome from Kentucky. It's just me and her.
It's very sad. Jim's dogs don't like him, so he's converted to a cat person. It's tragic.
I buy them for me, and then they love my wife, so I don't like them.
Maybe they see something. Maybe you're giving off bad vibes, bad energy.
I've given you bad vibes for 27 years, and you're still around.
I mean, because I like to do charity work. I can't. Chicken or steak?
I love steak. I gotta go with steak.
Yeah, I mean, Cali steak tacos. I mean, what,
So good.
it doesn't get much better than that.
It
All right,
doesn't.
you got a brain on you. Are you math or English? I bet you're like more English literature.
Yeah,
in regards.
English. I like reading and writing, and I think English is easier for me. So
What is your favorite book of all time?
of all
The
time,
next one you read?
honestly, yeah, I've read so many. It depends on the genre. I can't like pick one from all genres, but The Book Thief is
So
definitely, like I said, up there. So
I'm just glad you've kept it through college because, I told you my daughter's in school now at LSU, but she read like nonstop through high school. And now, like, she's watching TV, and I'm like, what happened? I was like, we had this thing covered. Now she's binge watching on Netflix, and it's like, you were doing so good reading all these books, smarter than your dad, fell off.
it's definitely hard with the busy college schedule, but breaks are a good time to pick up a book.
Don't lose it. It's hard to get back.
I know.
I say every year I want to read more, and I do start reading more, but it just like trickles away very quickly.
Yeah.
But all right, beach or lake?
That's a hard one, but I guess I have to say beach because I'm from SoCal and I need to start making more use of how close the beaches are to me.
We went to Huntington Beach because most of the beaches I'd always went to were in San Diego, but me and my family went out to a trip last summer, and we went out to Huntington Beach, and it was very nice. I was very pleased with just the people out there, the restaurants, even the overall cleanliness of the beach. So since you've been supporting SoCal the whole way, if anybody's listening, you want to take your family somewhere out there, Huntington Beach is a nice spot.
Yeah, true.
All right, reading or TV?
Reading. I have to go with reading. TV is awesome too, but I love reading.
All right, let's talk TV. Are you a movie person or a TV show person?
Ooh.
Movies or shows?
I think in the past I probably would have said a show, except recently probably movies because in college there's like I don't feel like I have enough time to commit myself to multiple seasons of a show. So unless it's like a shorter show or like something that's like coming out as time goes on, a movie, because I can just sit there and finish it in that, one block of 2 hours and then I'm done. There's no commitment.
Yeah, you know what's funny? We're watching a show last night, and for whatever reason it was on Prime, but you're not supposed to have ads, and it had ads, and my wife was complaining. I said, you realize that's the two things. One, we used to live in a world where we grew up and there was commercials on everything. We didn't have this choice, but I said also we're getting to watch episode after episode. We used to have to wait every week. We're so spoiled now as a society.
It's crazy. Like the ability to change a song to the just because you don't want to hear that one and move to the next one. Like it drives me crazy because my kids will never know what it's like to have to like just by chance your favorite episode of whatever your favorite show is on. Like back in the day when I was watching Saved by the Bell and I wanted my favorite episode to come on, I'd have to wait weeks and catch it at the right time.
Bella look at you and be like, I need Bluey episode 3 season 4.
Right. And dummy me, I know exactly what the name of the episode is, and I'm just what is wrong with me? What's the last movie you saw?
Actually, on the plane back from North Carolina, I watched The Great Gatsby. But before that, I watched The Notebook for like the 9th or 10th time. I've seen it so many times.
Tearjerker.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. The ending doesn't change.
But let me tell you why that movie.
I just love the movie.
I'll tell you why that movie is actually important in a grand scheme of things. It developed Ryan Gosling into a really good actor because if you would have just went off his little role in like Remember the Titans and a couple other little things he was a goofball. That movie molded him into a legitimate actor, and now he doesn't make bad movies. So shout out Notebook.
Yeah,
I mean, and now he's Ken.
Well, we'll forget that. He's got enough movies that I'm able to forget that. But what's funny is my daughter tries to convince me that he played a good role, and I'm not entertaining it.
No, he's definitely had better. What about TV show? What's your favorite show? What's a show that
Um,
you enjoyed?
my favorite show ever is definitely Friends. I did just finish Gossip Girl, and that one was good. But yeah, all time I've got to go with Friends. I love it.
If
I've seen
Friends
the
is
whole
on
thing.
TV and I'm surfing, I'll stop every time and watch it.
Yeah, no, me
Let me-
too. It's my comfort show.
They have a game show on Max coming out, and it's Friends trivia, and it's these people, and they're competing against each other in Friends trivia. And I thought it
Really?
was wild because one, like clearly there's a lot of people out there that know their friends, but I didn't know there was enough people to make a game show out of it. But
But
Yeah.
those
What-
kind of
what do
things,
I
like
know?
when I've been to a friend's trivia night at like a bar or restaurant or whatever, and not even just friends, anything. So like when I went with my wife for a Disney one or whatever, because my wife loves Disney, like those trivia things aren't like just your basic normal questions that you think you're
No.
gonna know. Like you better have studied before you show up.
Yeah, they're always hard.
Yeah, it's like I happened to be at a restaurant and they were doing like a trivia, and just like the line of questioning, it was like the round was Harry Potter. And it was like I've seen all the movies and I enjoyed them, but like these questions were questions I'm like, I have
Make
no
you
idea.
question if you actually saw the movie for real.
Right. And then these people that were answering the questions were like, they knew right away. And I was like, man, that is just a different level. But vault or floor?
Oh, that one is so hard.
What's funny is
I'd
I
say
set
vault
these
now.
up. I set these up before you talk to us, so I don't know ahead of time that those are going to be like the two best ones to go head to head.
Yeah. I've got to say vault since college. Definitely would have been like 1,000,000% floor before college, but I kind of love vault now. It's really fun. But floor is definitely a close second, and bars are beam, 1,000,000% beam. I am definitely not a bars girl, like at
All right,
all.
what about vault and beam? Like if those were the two options.
Vault and beam. I think I still got to go with vault. I think vault is my favorite right now out of all of
Nice.
them.
I think
Yeah.
the first time we've had that answer. Oh, we
I just
Yeah,
know
it's really
whenever
unpopular.
people say beam, I tell them they're nuts because
they're crazy.
it's
Crazy.
scary.
Nope, not doing it. All right, concert or sporting event?
Sporting event. I love concerts too, but I
love
love
it.
sports. I'm the
Well-
diehard Dodgers and Lakers fan.
Oh, Mookie.
Spoiled with those.
Let me
Dodgers.
ask you.
Dodgers
Let me
all-star roster.
let me tell you something. I looked at your
Mm.
social media. I saw your dad. I saw you with your little Dodger jerseys on. It must be
Yes.
nice to have an infinite payroll to be able to hire and get any player you want. I mean, it is.
And now, as a Lakers fan, she gets Luka. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
you get a generational talent, and then as he's on his way out, you go, you know what? We'll just get the next
Yeah.
generational talent.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy time to be an LA sports fan for sure, but I'm not complaining. I'm so
I mean,
excited.
even the Rams are a great team.
Yeah.
Yeah, except I'm actually a Chargers fan. I don't like the Rams. Actually, my football team is the Steelers. I don't have a like really good reason for that. I've just always liked them.
She went ahead and said that before you asked why.
Well, let me ask you this then. Being football knowledgeable and a sporting event person, who you got? Chiefs or Eagles? Big game. Big game.
I'm gonna manifest Eagles.
So, Daniel, just to be clear, every guest, guy or girl, has came on here and said Eagles. I've said Eagles. You are
Yeah.
all alone, brother.
I want to know how a Pittsburgh Steelers fan is picking the Philadelphia Eagles for anything.
She's not a crazy person who lives in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's like my loyalty to the Steelers is first of all, it's like that's just like a team I like and a team I follow. Also, I just want the Eagles to beat the Chiefs. Just forgetting about any other teams, I just want the Eagles to beat the Chiefs.
Wow. You and Jim are going to be sad this weekend.
Daniel, I've got to put together a parlay. I'm going to get a Saquon anytime touchdown, Eagles to cover. I'm going to have to see what this national anthem over under is. I'm getting in on all of it.
I mean,
I'm
that's
just
crazy.
excited to watch.
All right. So I got one more question. And
Okay.
this question, we save this for people that we know are deep thinkers. So baseball players don't get this question.
Look, I tell you the truth of the matter, Daniel, because I'm the one that writes this. When I saw the education you had, I was like, because this is his question that he formed. I was like, yeah, he's got to ask this.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the deal. You are at home. You're in the attic and you're cleaning out some stuff, or you're getting Christmas decor down, or you're doing something, and you move some boxes, you move some stuff around, and you see this book, and you're a book person. And so it's all dusty and you're like, what is this? So you pull it out, you start dusting it off, cobwebs, the whole nine. You open up and you start reading, and you realize that this is the story of your life. You read 100 pages and you're like, man, this is exactly like my life. Exactly every event that happened, from start to where I am now, this is it. You get 200 pages in, still the same, 300 pages in. And you finally get to the point in this book where you're on a podcast with us. So my question to you is, you've read up until current day. Do you keep reading to figure out, how this book ends, how the life ends? Or do you just put it away?
As much as I would be tempted to, and it would be really hard to put it down, I think that like a lot of the things that have been so meaningful in my life are because like I don't know they're happening. Like, I don't know. That's just what makes it so special. So I think I have to put the book down and just see how my life plays out on my own.
All right. Let me throw a wrench into your little fairy tale right here. All right.
Okay.
So you get to present day, and let's say you go to close the book and you're like, oh man, there's only 3 pages left in this book. Then what do you do?
Well, I would be sad, first of all, because obviously I want to live a longer life. But I feel like I don't want the book to tell me what to do. Like, even if that's technically like what's going to happen, like if I read it, then it's like the book is telling me what I should do in the last 3 pages, or I can go and live the last 3 pages of my life the way I want to live it. And if it happens to be
you're the first
consistent with the
person
book.
to say that you'd be sad. Like, Daniel, it's funny she called it. No one has said that yet, but that's the truth of the matter. Like, you just realize that your time is coming to an end. So she's the first one to actually observe that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that it would be like to be continued. That's how
You
it
won't
would
know
end.
that unless you read it, though.
True.
Yeah.
I would burn the book as soon as I realized it was my life. I don't want to read anymore, and I don't want to know anything.
Yeah.
Very true.
That's true.
Well, Jayden, it has been a pleasure having you on, getting to know you, getting your story, talking about Cal Gym. Anything you want to plug or promote before you get out of here?
Just watch our meets. It's going to be an exciting season. Go Cal W Gym, and also watch men's gymnastics too.
There you go. Let me help you out, all right? Because I love doing this all of a sudden.
Okay.
All right, all the y'all out there, especially y'all jabronis that have a logo mascot as a tree, you're coming to Berkeley. Stanford, I'm talking to you on the 13th, which is this Friday, or on the 7th, which is this Friday. You might be ranked 13th in the country, but you're coming to get a monster beatdown. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready to go into your Valentine's Day weekend just depressed and sad and trying to figure out what happened. But let me tell you what's going to happen. The giant that is Cal Gym is going to show you what's up. So get ready.
Go
That's
Bears.
poetic of you.
Yeah, pack a hanky for all the tears that you're going to be crying.
Daniel, give me a time on this. I'm actually curious because, I'll be at the Alabama meet.
So it's 7 p.m. Pacific time. It is at Cal ACC Network. They got you. Got you covered. So
I
if
might miss the
you're,
first event on this timeline, but I'll be able to catch a good portion of it.
I mean, it's actually a really good time for me on Eastern time. Like,
Daniel, I get to be a Gladio Friday. I'm on the family list for Gabby Gladio, so can watch Bama and LSU. The question I have, I'm going to ask this to Jayden. So I'm an LSU fan,
Mhm.
but I'm going to Alabama as a guest of Alabama. I'm obviously not going to wear LSU, but do I wear Alabama or do I just go straight neutral?
Hmm.
I mean, is that
Well,
a serious question?
I'm serious.
I mean, do you want tickets again? You want to be invited back?
That's what I'm at. But I mean, it's going to be weird if we're Alabama and LSU fan. But also, to your point, I feel like I should be nice. I don't know. We do
Not
have
at
an
all.
Alabama in off the bench hoodie, so I feel like that's the safe play.
That is the play. Like, that is
I
the
think that
only
would
play.
probably, yeah, I agree. That's the best.
It would be funny though. I showed up. You were talking about not getting an invite back, wearing LSU, and then sitting in the Alabama family section.
I mean, what if you did like some of those parents do when they have kids playing for two different schools and they do like a jersey like
Yeah.
that's split?
I mean,
Like,
that's what her parents are going to have to do when Arizona and Cal face off.
Yeah. My mom's already planning it. She's been talking about it.
you don't think they would
Make
just?
sure we get a picture of that when it happens. I need to see this elite.
I'll make sure.
I wish your mom was on here because I would ask her like, you know, this or that question would be you or your sister. Like, if you had to root for one, who would it be?
It's
And
got to
we
be
can't say
me.
both or neither. So she's up against it.
That'd be crazy. All right, Jayden, let you get out of here. Let you bounce. Appreciate you coming on. Hey, have a great season. Have a successful
Thank
season.
you.
Have a injury-free season, and go just have a lot of fun. Don't forget that. Just always remember to have fun. So,
Yes, I will. I'm
all
excited
right.
for the season, and thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That is Jayden Silvers, everybody. If you like hearing Jayden's story or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook. Go to Instagram, hit us up, comments, hearts, hugs, loves, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Go to YouTube, click like, click subscribe, click notifications. That way you're one of the first to get new content when it is dropped. Jim, another great week in the books. Got some gymnastics this weekend. We're slowly ticking down the days until college baseball survivor. You know, it's going to be legit.
We even got Ethan Conrad back in the lineup, man. Things are falling together.
Just read a graphic, #1 transfer of the season, Ethan Conrad.
And #1 ranked shortstop. Kid's big time.
Not bad. So with that, this has been the In Off the Bench podcast. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We